Where would you take them?
Ephesians 6.
You would go to Ephesians 6, okay? So if you can't memorize, every verse, at least go over to Ephesians 6. At least memorize that, and then you'll find it. All right. Okay, so section 1, we did this already, spiritual walk. We talked about, in the spiritual walk, just remember the word agone. Just remember that word, because if you remember the word agone, it sounds like our English word, what, Rachel? Agone, we said it sounds like our English word, our English word comes from agone.
Agony?
Agony, so just remember that, agony, okay? And once you remember agony, oh yeah, the Christian walk. It's one of agony. And then what's our verse that we looked at that it's the word agone, but boy, they translate it differently. It's agone in the Greek, but the English word, you never would have matched the two up. Never would have matched the two up. You would never look at that English word and say to yourself, I wonder if this is the word agony. Race. Okay. Would you put the two together? Agony
For
and
those
race?
of us that don't run might.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. It's just, it can be agonizing just thinking about running.
Exactly.
Yes, okay, yeah, right. So we looked at that, and that's in Hebrews. But remember too that this word in English was translated, to get a good handle on this word, agone, we looked at words like conflict, contention, fight. So it really brings out the strength of that word, okay? And then this one as race. So it just doesn't seem to fight, contention, fight, conflict, race. But then when you think about it, break down race, okay? And there's a lot that goes into that. It is a contest, okay? It is a competition, okay? And there has to be a lot of focus and a lot of effort. Of course, a lot of training going into it. All right, so agone, right? Then I think we just got, actually we finished this whole section. So we're going to look at the second section, but thlipsis, okay? Lydia, can you say thlipsis? Okay. Asher, say thlipsis.
Flipsis.
Okay. All righty. One more. Tamara, say flipsis.
Oh, gross.
I love saying that word. I don't know why. I just love saying that word. Pressure, afflicted, anguish, these other words. Okay. Tribulation. And I think we use the idea of a vice being put into a squeeze, pressure, okay, a pressure hold, okay, something constricted, right? That's what the tribulation is going to be on all sides for those involved, okay? That's why to come through the tribulation unscathed. Now what do I mean by unscathed? If you're alive at the end, and we which are alive and remain unto the coming of Christ, okay? Paul points that out because it will really be something to have to come to, for us to have gone through the tribulation and come through it. But what do I mean by unscathed? Okay, you're alive, okay, unscathed physically, but there's another element there. Spiritually, okay. We want to come through unscathed spiritually. It takes me back to Matthew, is it 24, 12, 24, 14, somewhere in there? Let's just look at that real quick. Well, someone just looked that up. I think it's along about Matthew 24, 12 through 14, somewhere in there.
While they're looking that up, I was wondering, with Revelation, I've always kind of wondered what that scripture means when it says, let him be faithful still, let he who is unholy, let him be unholy
Yes,
still.
yeah.
What do you think, how do you think that ties into that?
Well, I think, and that, I think that's chapter 21 or 22. And by then, that's the scene is the New Jerusalem. Okay, but I take things that are referenced specifically for on the new earth and New Jerusalem to also apply to the inauguration period going into that. Okay, so that how we're found when Jesus comes, are we found holy, righteous, or unrighteous? That's how we are we'll be locked in. Okay, once the judgment arrives, there's no, oh, okay, it's too late. Okay, so now we find ourselves in the kingdom, and we're either invited to come in as among the nations, and there we will be forever. We'll never, if you're invited in as a participant of the nation, as a citizen of the kingdom in the nation, you'll never be invited into the city. Okay, you'll be forever banished from the city. Okay, so you're locked in. So you are not holy to be in the city. You're defiled. Okay, defilement meant spiritually unprepared or unfit or unqualified to wear the holy garment of a priest. Okay, so they're defiled. For outside are dogs. They're defiled, and so if you're in that position, you'll always be in that position. If you're holy and you're privileged to be in the city, you'll always be that. You'll never defile yourself and be kicked out. Okay, so wherever you start is how you'll end up. So he that is holy, let him be holy still. Okay? He that is righteous, let him be holy or righteous still. Okay, so that's how I take that up. As the tree, I think the next verse is, as the tree falls, so shall it lie. Okay, in that position. Okay.
And isn't that after the 1,000 years is up, the rebellion and all of that? So it's like everyone is, you're in your place, you're slotted
You're in your place
forever.
Yes, absolutely, yeah, there's no changing. Okay. So all the work, all the heavy lifting, as it were, and all the work is done up front right now in this life. Right now in this life, okay? It can't be done later. It's gotta be done now, okay? Why now? Because there's still an element where it's not seen. Okay? We walk by what? We walk by faith, okay? Once Jesus comes and all this, oh yeah, it was true. Here he is. You know, it's just like the Bible said, well, that's not by faith anymore. You've just seen what the Bible was pointing to. Okay, so, Noah had something.
Yeah, I think what you were looking for was in verse 13.
Okay.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
That's it. Okay, so there's a tribulation coming, but he that endures unto the end, he's unscathed spiritually. Okay, he doesn't allow. What's verse 12 say?
And because iniquity shall
Yeah.
abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Okay, so iniquity is going to abound during this time, and as a result, many are going to lose that love. Okay, it's just going to be, so weighted down on them that they're going to deny Jesus. Okay, and by denying Jesus, then it says, if you deny me, I'll deny you in front of my Father. And so, again, then you become defiled.
Yeah, it's 22:11.
22:11. Matthew 22:11. Or Revelation.
It says, he who is unjust, let him be unjust still.
Yeah.
He who is filthy, let him be filthy still. He who is righteous, let him be righteous still.
Mhm.
He who is holy, let him be holy still.
Mhm. Yeah, just indicating that you're locked in. Okay, and then I think the next verse is about the tree, I think, isn't it?
No.
No.
That sounds like the Old Testament.
No, it's in the new.
Is
It's
it?
in the new, yeah.
Have you heard that Johnny Cash, the way Johnny Cash does that?
Uh-uh.
He has a song that does that verse.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
It's one of the
Oh,
last
when the
ones that
band
he
comes
did,
around.
yeah.
Okay.
One of the last
Was
ones he did.
He was older? Oh, he's,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I didn't know
Remind
that.
me after
Yeah.
services, I have it on my phone.
Yeah, it's
I
really
can-
good.
Oh, listen to it.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know
What
that.
verse? What verse?
11.
22:11.
Oh, I think it's Johnny Cash.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so,
It's, well, this says Ecclesiastes 11:3.
okay, and then now go there and it'll reference
Okay.
Revelation.
Let's take a look.
See if I can find it
Sorry to get you on a tangent.
here. Oh, no, I love this. I love it.
11
You'll remember more of this discussion than you will the slides, I promise you.
11:3 says, if the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if a tree falls to the south or the north, in the place where the tree falls, there it shall lie.
Okay, and then look at your center reference.
It goes for, that's verse 3. It goes from 2 to 5.
Okay.
I think it is just Old Testament. I don't think it's new.
if it's not, I have to remap my brain. It'd be like GPS, recalculating.
Make a left here.
Yeah, make a left here.
I sent it just like her.
I do a lot of parcel delivery on my phone.
Yeah. Go left into the
Don't
woods.
let cheap
Yeah.
crazy people.
Doing the bitter root. Where did you think it was, Pastor Mike?
I don't see it anywhere in Revelation, at least.
No, okay, then I gotta remap my brain.
That didn't sound familiar for new.
He does talk about the tree.
Oh, the tree of life, yeah, but I thought it was that, I thought he was picking up that particular verse. Okay, no, I'm not seeing it either. All right, well, I stand corrected. I am standing. And I stand corrected. I thought it was there, okay. Anyway,
But I mean, it's the same idea, right? It's the exact same idea.
yeah, but something led me in my mind right now to,
You probably.
oh, I know what it was.
Oh, here
Okay.
it comes, here it is.
The verse in 11,
Yeah.
okay, because you're locked in,
Mhm.
then I associated it with that tree falling in the Old Testament. So then my mind, the remapping then,
Chain reference.
I thought it was there in Revelation.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Speaking of remapping, did you know that I watched the video, and I'm gonna post it on the newsletter, totally off the subject. That they used to think that the brain was static. Okay, because you have all these centers in your brain, all these neurons and everything, that they're all kind of, locked in. Okay, but through experiments, they chopped off. Kids never try this at home, but they chopped off a finger off of a monkey. They cut a monkey's finger off. Okay, and they tested him, and the area that controlled that part, I guess, remapped. In other words, they saw the information how it was mapped before, and then they cut the finger off, and over a period of time it remapped, it redrew. So the information about that finger that used to be there is gone. It's wiped out.
So the brain is dynamic, not.
The brain is dynamic, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So, which is interesting too, because, if you lose one sense, the other senses, kind of kick in. You lost something, eyes or hearing or something, the other senses seem to kind of take over or intensify. So that would be in a sense, remapping the brain. I think it's just interesting. That's how we're made. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay, and in these fearful and wonderful bodies that were made, we have a fight on our hands.
No, segue.
There you go. I did it, man. I did it.
Winner.
I did it.
That's good.
I'm gonna swing it around somehow. All right.
Until Andy asks another question.
This is Sunday school, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we're up and running again. Or off to the races. Yeah.
That's all right, it won't be the first time we got caught in the recap here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
As someone who has experienced this many times.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we better move along here. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's get to this part number 2. All right. Get to part number 2 here. There we go. All right. So spiritual walk, spiritual warfare. Warfare. All right. All right. Philip, can you read that for us, please?
I'm good context info, yes I can.
Oh, okay.
This charge I commit to you, son Timothy, according to the prophecies previously made concerning you, that by them you may wage the good warfare, having faith and a good conscience, which some, having rejected concerning the faith, have suffered shipwreck.
All right. So here it is.
Your dude looks evil.
Yeah, he does look kind
Well, this guy here, yeah, he's meant to. Actually, that's 2 images, one overlaid on top of the other.
Nice. Did that in PowerPoint?
Photoshop. No, I don't have Photoshop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think so.
No, I did that. How did I do that? I forget how I did that. Oh, PowerPoint. PowerPoint, yeah. Is this fresh?
It is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You can make one image lay over on top of the other one, so that's what I did. Okay, so Spiritual warfare. We try not to paint a picture that if a person accepts Christ and they begin to follow the Lord, that everything from there forward is just going to be rosy-dozy. We try not to. That's a false hope. That's a not lie, kids. Okay. We never want to, think that it's just going to be hunky-dory, as we say, right? Because it's not. It's serious business. Okay. These young, let's say, college kids that they watch, pro football, and they see all the glory and the glitter and the glamour and the stardom and the big paychecks and the, this and that and this and that. They maybe don't realize all the work that goes in behind the scenes, day-to-day practice, the grind, the weight training, everything that goes into what you see on TV. These guys are athletic because they've trained themselves to be that way, because they're going to get hit out there, and you got to be ready to get smashed. Okay, I wonder why they don't get more broken bones.
They're conditioned every day.
They are conditioned every day, yeah. And it's not just the physical conditioning. What else are they conditioned at? Mental. Okay, it's survival of the fittest. It's hit or be hit. Okay, that's why I told Lydia when she was playing football. I said, Lydia, you're playing against guys, boys, and they're going to want to wipe you out, take you out, okay, knock you out, okay, knock you senseless. Look, I think she got the point. Anyway, okay, they want to hurt you, put a hurt on you, okay. So I said, you've got to get down low, and you've got to hit them hard and hit them fast, hit them first, okay, and be tough, okay. And so that's the Christian life. We've got to brace ourselves, get down, get low, and hit, because the devil's always punching at us. He's always taking his shots. Okay? We've got to start sending a message back to him.
Well, I think I might have mentioned this too once in Phil's class, but as things get worse, where it's not going to be our job to run and hide from the world, to run and hide from the persecution and whatnot that we're going to start seeing.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to do that. We need to learn how to condition ourselves now. Well, it's easier, I guess, when our lives aren't quite on the line yet.
Yeah.
Our necks aren't quite in the noose.
Yeah.
So that when they are in the noose, when it's don't serve or die, then I think we'll be better able to do that rather than run into the hills and just huddle up, do kind of like the Hutterites do, and just make our own little community up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our job is to bring the word to the nations, not to bring it to ourselves, I guess.
Yeah. Our brethren, on that note, our brethren did find themselves hiding in caves. Okay. A lot of them were taken, of course, by the millions, but some of them did, for the idea of survival, they would hide. And I read where there were times where they would hide, the pastors, the men would hide the women and children, in caves, and then separate themselves out. Okay. I've also heard where they would the men would try to set up decoy away from the pastors. No, they're trying to protect their shepherds,
right,
and decoy them away. Okay, so they did that. Okay, but then others were just flat out taken. And I know some brethren were studying, with the nuts and the berries and the fruits, what they could eat out in the wilderness. Okay, as preppers. Okay, years ago, back in the 70s, and that's okay. What would we do here? I think that when you're in a city, such as Missoula or even a larger metropolis, you're basically going to be trapped. Okay, in other words, when things start to fly, we're basically trapped here. Even if we headed for the hills, they'll find you there.
Technology's come a long way in the last 30 years.
Yeah, they would find you. Yeah. So to your point, what would we do as a congregation? Well, more than likely, we would be forced into maybe camps. In other words, because of our conservatism and what we stand for, we might be forced into camps, into centers. There's going to be a shortage of food. So we just don't know. But we know that we're in a warfare. We have to prepare mentally So that, you're right, once we're in that situation, do or die, we just have to mentally be ready to die for the Lord. I know the Islamists I read where they say, some of them are saying, "Oh, good, you wanna live for Jesus, you love Jesus, then you're gonna die like Jesus." And so they're crucifying him over there. And so we have to be ready for that kind of stuff. How do you get ready for something like that? Well, you just understand, this isn't a cakewalk. You know, we're in it to win it. Okay? We're in it all the way. Okay?
You know, I was saying that, and to Noah's point for the Wednesday lesson, shameless plug, but Wednesday's the 7th. If there are 50 million who died, which is the estimated number, then those are 50 million people who had momentum already.
Right.
Those are 50 million people who are mentally and spiritually strong already.
Yeah.
Those are people who had taken their life as it was and had built up that progression in their life that they were prepared for. Now, they were born, a lot of them were born into it.
Mm-hmm.
They were born under a government, religion, ruled society.
Yeah.
And so they didn't really have a choice,
Mm-hmm.
but they were still willing to give their lives for it,
Mhm.
which meant that they had built up enough spiritual momentum to reach that point and then give their lives.
Yeah.
So that's where, you know, we weren't born into it,
Mhm.
but we see it coming. And I think that's the advantage that we have, is that we're prepared for it. Whether we see it or not, we see how the puzzle's taking shape to form the picture
Mhm.
on how it's gonna be between technology, between society, between government, between political correctness, between all these factors. They're all gonna fall into place to formulate this one world government with one leader who's gonna take over, and he's gonna start making demands because everyone has given everything to him to just take over.
Yeah.
So you can see how it's building.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's been building progressively over the last, for me, 40 years, and so you can see it coming.
Yeah.
And so that's why the momentum is such a strong point that we've always made here, because you have to build that to be ready for when this happens.
Yeah. And it doesn't come at once, it comes in layers. I think the German word was Gestalt. You salt it in. And so it's a lot of repeated little battles, okay, for the war, okay, Gestalt. Right?
You said, how can we prepare for it? And one of the things that I think of is when, I think it's Paul,
Mhm.
says, "I think myself happy."
Mhm.
You know, we have to determine before we get there what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You have to steel yourself that, you know, when the time comes, I am gonna stand for it. Because if you lose faith in yourself,
Yeah.
then chances are you are going to fail.
Yeah.
You know, you can't think,
Yeah.
oh, well, what if I fail, or what if, because then you're setting yourself up for
Yeah,
failure.
yeah.
You have to think that you will stand strong for God,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And as you said, that confidence comes with momentum.
Yeah. And how do you get the momentum? It's services like this. It's Bible studies like this. It's you know, every time we're together, or it's you in your Bible, it's you in prayer. You know, you're building your own momentum by every little thing you do, okay, to prepare yourself, okay? And the better you're prepared, then the better that shows. And then when we're together, I feel good when I'm with you, because I feel I'm in the company of godly people, committed people, you know, overall serious people. You know what I mean? I feel good. I feel we're in, you know, good shape that way. And
I'm sorry.
Kid is going, I'm serious.
Sorry. I don't know what that was. What I was gonna say is, like what Noah's talking about, you know, are we expected then to leave our houses, leave? And I think if you read Revelation, you know, there's a couple things in Matthew and Revelation that if you kind of put things together from what I saw, growing up, I always thought, yeah, you'd have to leave for the hills and all that. That command that Jesus gave to not go down in your house and grab, he's just making a point.
Yeah.
He's saying when you see this particular event happen, the abomination of desolation, just know that it's happening right now.
Right.
Don't go get your stuff and all these other things. Don't go out to the hill, or to the wilderness.
Yeah.
And I think that's the command for Israel. He says,
It
let all
is.
those in Judea.
It is, yeah.
So it's not for the
Yeah.
Christians.
Yeah,
as it
that's the
were.
epicenter, right there, over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
people, you know, and this says in Revelation, put that together in Revelation, it says he's going to make, and those people that went out to the hills, as it were, went out to the wilderness, God has to protect it. Didn't we
Right.
just say a
Yeah.
second ago?
Yeah.
That there is no hiding?
Mhm.
God has to protect those people.
Mhm.
Whereas the Christians are going to just
Yeah.
have to fend for themselves,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that other groups,
Mhm.
that's why I think there's a semi-revival, as it were.
Mhm.
I watch these movies and stuff about, God is not dead, God is not
Right.
dead too.
Right.
And, there's a whole bunch of them, and I think that they're, growing, because I think it's going to be those people, when Christ comes back in Matthew 25,
Mhm.
that he says, you protected my people.
Yeah.
I think, because remember, he's got his bride with him, so he's talking to
Right.
somebody that says,
Yeah.
enter into the kingdom, into your into your inheritance.
Uh-huh.
But I think those are the people that during the tribulation,
Mhm.
because they survived the tribulation too, those are the people that are gonna protect
Mhm.
God's people
Yeah.
and allow some of them to come through the tribulation.
Mhm.
So I think that our friends now that are saved and the future friends that we'll have that are saved
Yeah.
and the ties that we have, they don't want the beast on the throne either.
No, oh no.
It's just
no.
that they see things, from a different perspective.
Uh-huh,
But they don't want him on the throne any more than we do.
right.
But they, as false doctrine as they are larger in numbers.
Yes, yes.
And they will be able to protect God's people
Yeah.
through the tribulation as much as them,
Yeah.
as much of us as can be saved.
Yes,
through it.
yeah. And bless their hearts, a lot of them are gonna be willing to die for Jesus too,
Yeah.
But, I guess the unfortunate thing is that as they do, they won't be resurrected for 1,000 years.
Right.
But, it's all in God's hands, okay? We're tasked with preparing people for inside the city, to live in the city. That's what we're tasked to do, okay? Their task, their thought process is, everyone's all one big body of Christ. So they have their eye on the city, but without proper attirement, holy garments, they won't be priests in the city. That's unfortunate, okay? But as you said, there'll be a place there for them. But that's why, put it all together, because of the expectation is this high, okay, and they won't reach that expectation, okay, they will not be allowed to go inside the city. That's why the weeping and gnashing of teeth, okay? Now the remorse and the regret that they weren't as ready as they thought they could have been.
And especially those who had really close contact to the truth,
Mhm.
the people that we
Yeah.
witnessed to over the years,
Yes,
those are
yeah.
the people who are gonna be really kicking themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they had just gone right instead of left, they
Yeah.
probably would have been.
Yeah.
And that's what they're gonna look back on. They're not gonna look back at the other stuff. They're gonna look back on the moments that sort of, Zmont that we talked about, that zero moment of truth, when they had the opportunity to say yes or no to Andy's invitation to come to church,
Mhm.
and they said no because the Patriots were playing the Rams,
Mhm.
and they said, nope, no thank you. That's the moment that they're going to remember, because then every time after that became easier to say no, or he stopped asking.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so that's what they're gonna look back on. That's why they're weeping, because if they had just said yes, the opportunity and the percentage goes up of you believing by
Mhm.
first attending.
Mhm.
And so I think that's why
Yeah.
it isn't just crying, it's wailing.
It is an absolute.
Well, and you mentioned
Yeah.
expectation.
Mhm.
They expect it. We
Mhm.
expect it,
Mhm.
because we believe that we're following the truth,
Yeah.
and they believe
Yeah.
that they're following the truth,
Yeah.
and that's the things they expected, and that's what I think about the parable of the wedding feast.
Mhm.
You have Jesus inviting all these people to the wedding feast, and you have him walking around and greeting people, and they're all wearing give them garments so that they are prepared, and then he
Mhm.
gets to a person that's not wearing a garment,
Mhm.
and he says, "What are
How'd you
doing
get in here?"
Yeah, how
Yeah.
did you get in here? He's like,
Uh-huh.
Calls them
well,
friend.
I thought I was
Yeah.
invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I showed up because I thought I belonged here.
Yeah.
When you don't belong here,
Right.
leave.
Yeah.
In so many
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
But
And all those are meant to show us that there is gonna be a separation. This isn't for everybody. I mean, the opportunity is for everybody, but in the end, if you didn't take advantage of it, you don't get to eat the cake. That's all there is to it.
The note that I have in my Bible that was said by you, Pope Moderator,
Uh-huh.
at some point, I don't keep dates, but you said it at one point,
Right.
that no one's gonna be crashing the kingdom.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be crashing the
Yeah.
city, no one's gonna be coming in
Yeah.
just like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
here.
In fact, we see that attempt 1,000 years later,
1,000 years later, yeah.
trying to circle the city and
Take over.
form a coup and take over. And God just says, okay, I'm done with you people. This is like the last filter. This is the last straining of wickedness, running in through that filter. Okay, the wicked have come up to the surface, okay, after 1,000 years of living with Jesus under his realm and his peace, okay, all these disgruntled people, you know, it's like, you know, like a little eddy in a river, it foams, all that foam and stuff, okay? So here they are, they're foaming, and they've circled the city, and they're gonna march in and take over, because they think they should be in there. And God just rains brimstone down and just wipes them out all in one shot, okay? Then that's it. Who's he left with? The ones that didn't march on the city, the ones that didn't want to march on the city. They realize, I don't belong there, okay? And so now you've got the best, the cream of the crop, that which is left, okay? That's what we go into eternity with. You see all the preparation stages they had right up to the very end here, just about, okay? So, the diehards. So yeah, it is a warfare. And we just have to brace ourselves, mentally, be mentally tough, realize that this isn't a cakewalk, that the majority will not make it. That's what Jesus said. Okay, the way is narrow, it's constricted, right? That leads to life, okay? Life of the bride. Okay? The way is broad, that leads to destruction, and many will find it. So we got the few and the many. Jesus himself divided it into the few and the many. Okay? And so we want to be among the few. Trust me, when it's all said and done, you want to have the new name in your forehead. You want to have the robe on. You want to have that new identity. You want to have a song that no one else knows but you and the rest of your life, your kind, okay? Total identity. Total, you know, identity 2.0. That's what you want. And you'll never be weeping and gnashing your teeth because you got that. Never. You'll be, in fact, those that got it are praising God and thanking him and casting their crowns at his feet and just so appreciative. Okay? That's the scene of those people versus the weepers and the gnashers out there. Okay? So what will it take? It'll take even dying. Precious to the Lord are the death of his saints. He sees it at a whole different, you know, we said this before, that we look at death differently over here. You know, to them it's just, I mean, look at the Bible. People are dying left and right. I mean, left and right.
Thousands at a time, tens of
Oh,
thousands at a
my
time.
goodness. And they never batted an eyelash.
Yeah.
The Proverbs talk about death, you know, a warning. My son, don't go with those people because they're just out looking for blood and death and killing. You know, we don't think that way here. At least most of us don't. Okay, Lana, do you think that way? I doubt it. You know?
She does.
We just don't think that way. Okay, but over there in the East, it's a whole different culture, a whole different mindset. I watched a video where the father, Palestinian father, he looked like a 5-year-old kid, his little boy, about the size of Jaden, maybe a year or so younger. Carrying him, there was armored vehicles and some Israeli soldiers, IDF, you know, Israeli Defense Forces. And he was carrying his boy. He said, shoot him, here, kill him, put him down, go. And he backed off, and he's telling him in Arab, he says, go, throw a rock, pick up a rock and throw it at him. Pick up a rock and throw it. This little kid. And the soldiers, you can see on the soldiers, as the little boy came up to him, didn't throw a rock at him, he picked up a rock and he go like this, you know, throws it away from him, okay? And he's carrying a Palestinian flag. He says, wave the flag. So he's waving the flag. And as he gets up to the soldier, I can see the look on the soldier's face is like cute kid, like it's too bad that your dad is such a jerk, okay? But what a cute little boy this is, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and he had a kind of a sad look on his face, like, I feel bad for you, little boy, you know, dad's over there doing this. But would you put your son up for that? Put him in front of the soldier and say, you know, shoot him, kill him? It's a different thinking process over there than over here, okay? And when we look into our Bibles, guess what the geographical location is? It's all over there. Guess what the culture is? It's all Eastern, okay? All the places in the Bible that you read about, the cities, the countries, all the kingdoms, it's all over there. Their lifestyle, their traditions, it's different. So we have to understand our Bibles from that perspective. In fact, I'm doing some studies in Hebrew language and Hebrew words. And it's fascinating when you begin to peel back some of the outer layers of our English word, get behind it, see the Hebrew. It's not just, you know, what the meaning is, definition, but it's how it fits into their culture. Okay, I'm doing a study on the crimson worm. I am a worm and no man, Psalm 22. Okay, talked about what did that mean? Okay, and so that's a fascinating study. In fact, there's a DVD on that too, the crimson worm. Okay, it's certain worm. Okay, that's just a lot of stuff. So I hope to get into some of that, because it's important to understand from that culture. A lot is revealed to you. Okay. So, okay. Well, that's as far as we got. We got like one slide. One slide. Okay. Right. Like I said, you won't remember this, but you remember the conversation. Okay, and that's what it's all about. Okay, that's how you build the momentum. Okay. All right. Listen. Father in heaven, we do want to thank you, Lord, for this time together to discuss the scripture.